Well, what a strange Christmas period it has been for Swansea City. Some great results, some very shocking results, and a very weird manager situation. Our main question this week is all said and done, has Luke Williams been forgiven by the Swansea City faithful? We've got Hugh and James here to discuss that with us. We'll also talk about Harry Darling, the number of clubs, including Bristol City, that want to snatch him up in the remainder of his contract. FA Cup previewing. We've got our Southampton fans standing by to talk about the game this weekend. And who should the Swans be signing in the January transfer window? So lots to get through. Delighted to have Hugh and James back with us. And we've got Joe, our Southampton fan, who will come in a second. But, oh my goodness, Hugh, where do we start with Swansea City's last 2 weeks? Let's start with the manager situation then, first of all. What's your honest reflections on the craziness of the last 14 days?
Yeah, it's never quiet at the Swans, is it? Honestly, I know James has obviously got his sources and inside info, but for me, I've got to take in what I've heard and what I've seen, and I'm happy just to crack on and get on with it. If it's gone down, that's some of it's been rumoured, and I'm not going to be particularly happy with Williams' behaviour, but yeah, I think it would have been a strange move for him to go to West Brom anyway. He's building something here, got new owners, he's got backing. It's a sideways move, so yeah, bit of a weird one all round.
The part of frustration, wasn't it, Hugh, that for the first time since probably Russell Martin, there was a manager that had connection with the fans, and like you say, was building something. He was downing shots with fans, wasn't he, after the derby last season? But even before this happened, James, we did talk on here about his interviews being spiky. There was something perhaps wrong with him. Give us your barrel shot of what your thoughts on this are.
I don't like the way he's conducted himself at all. I've been one of his biggest backers since he's walked into the door. Before this, I'd run through brick walls for the guy. But he had two opportunities to shut it down with the press. On both occasions, he gave two Michael Duff-esque responses, really flippant, really as if like he's almost like trying to court them openly in the press. And then miraculously comes out when it's clear that he's apparently no longer in the running, turns around and goes, oh no, there's been no contact. I wasn't even aware that there was interest, despite the fact that he was asked outright twice after the Luton game and the Portsmouth game. And especially the way he handled it after the Portsmouth game. 2,000 hard-working Swansea fans make the trip down in terrible conditions to watch one of the worst performances that we've put in under him. That you can't tell me that they weren't reacting to all that speculation and negativity in the press. I just don't like the way he's conducted himself. I'm disappointed, really. And then for him to come out and say that he didn't know there was any interest, come on now. You know, he's got an agent. That agent is going to tell him about any interest that comes his way. So I don't buy this whole charade that he was completely unaware that the fans were unhappy with his response to the questions and that he didn't know there was interest. I just find that impossible.
Thanks for that, James. He has come out actually, and hasn't he, since and given some kind of semi-apology? Did you think it was phrased in an apology, Hugh, or an acceptance that perhaps it was, words were twisted, or what? What did you make of his attempt to get the fans back on side?
I wouldn't say it was an apology. I don't even think the word sorry was mentioned, was it? I think it was more of a case of, again, like James has said, a bit cryptic, a bit of making a joke out of something because he's kind of probably been found out and he's backtracking a little bit. But yeah, it's not been a great week for him on and off the pitch.
Yeah, is this recoverable from, James?
Personally, for me, no. I'll tolerate him while he's here. I'll back the team as I have done since I was a little one. But I just feel that all the goodwill that he was building here for me has gone out the window. And I get a lot of fans are taking his word at face value, but those same fans were not, where they were going, oh, don't worry about what he's saying, when he's sort of like being half-assed about the comments. But as soon as he goes, oh no, there was never any interest, they'll jump and believe that. And I just refuse to believe that he didn't know that there was no interest at all and the fans would react poorly. I feel he's pulled the wool. He's got form for it. He did it at Notts County. Go and look at the interviews he was giving before he came here from Notts County. Sadly for me, I don't think I'll be able to look past this, because if it happens again, Is he going to do the same thing again?
Managers come and go, Hugh, but fans are loyal. But how about the players? What evidence has there been? Do you think that this has upset the dressing room? I mean, you mentioned all of the Portsmouth games. Just have a look at how Swansea have done over Christmas. Of course, Boxing Day was fine. You beat QPR handsomely 3-0. QPR were awful on that day. Beat Luton, so everything was going well. And then, of course, it all started to fall apart. There was the Portsmouth results, and then, of course, ironically, West Brom themselves on at the weekend. What evidence have you seen this having any impact at all on the pitch?
Yeah, well, I think the only one really around the time of this all kicked off was obviously the Portsmouth one, which is, as James said, the worst performance under his tenure, I'd say. Probably the worst performance I've seen in a long time. Absolutely shocking to a man. They obviously weren't playing for him on that occasion. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but yeah, it wasn't a good look on the pitch. The whole game as well was also absolutely atrocious. But I think that was before all these rumours kicked off, so can't put that one down to that.
Yeah, away from home, James, at the moment, you're looking like a very Jekyll and Hyde side, aren't you, at the moment, at your stadium. Yeah, sound as a pound, but stick you on a coach, and at the moment, you flake as soon as you concede.
It's a strange one because the way we play never changes. But against Hull and against Portsmouth, if I told you to look at those two games and tell me who was the side fighting relegation, I would bet my mortgage on the fact that you probably think it's us, because we've just not looked the same on the road at all. I don't know if that's down to nerves or confidence. But it's so strange because we don't change the way that we play. So, yeah, I can't understand why we're just going to pieces every time we go away from home at the moment.
All right, then we'll leave that debate there for a second. Putting your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for keeping us away from any litigation there as well, both of you. That's really appreciated. Should we talk about Harry Darling for a second, because we're asking obviously all our network about players they want to sign, and Bristol City fans are very confident that they'll be putting in some sort of manoeuvre for Harry Darling, whose contract is running out, Hugh. But do you see him going anywhere?
Again, it's a difficult one, isn't it? I think it's 50-50. Well, obviously it's 50-50, but some of the clubs that are in for him, it wouldn't be a good move. I mean, Bristol's a sideways move. Birmingham's a downwards move, backwards move. I think he should stay. I think he might sign a contract. You see his reaction after the winner against Luton. He was banging the pitch, screaming and celebrating, and that doesn't look like a man who wants to leave to me.
James, your thoughts?
Same, yeah. I looked at the sides that are reportedly interested in him. You know, unless he wants to finish 12th with a side that wears red, he can go to Bristol City. You know, if he wants to go to a side that potentially could come back up to the Championship with Birmingham, he could. I think he's a massive part of what we do here. And I hope that all this that's gone on over the last sort of week, 10 days hasn't impacted on his decision of whether he wants to stay or not. Because it's massive. We secured Cullum, we secured Cabango. If we let him leave on a free, it is a massive failure with us. I would literally, just take his car keys, make him stay here. Just keep him here forever. That's my opinion.
Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you both very much for that one. So we'll start looking forward now. Then it's been a bit of a torrid week or so for Swansea. Let's look ahead to some FA Cup action. Then, shall we? It was going to be a reunion with Russell Martin, of course, as you head to Southampton, but that was put to the sword a couple of weeks ago. Let's invite our Southampton fan in, Joe, and have a chat with him. Well, welcome back, Joe. Good to see you again. Of course, you were a friend of the show last year, then you disappeared to the Premier League. How's life in the Premier League treating you?
Rubbish. Can't wait to be back, to be honest. Just excited for the end of May to come and we can say, yep, back in the Championship. Because, this season has just been horrid. Yeah.
James, you're a Russell Martin fan, I know, because we've spoken before. But, I mean, one of his issues was with you guys, he was stubborn and didn't change it. Do you think that's why he's potentially lost his job at Southampton as well?
Yeah, I think that you have to have. You're going to play that style of football in the Championship. You can get away with it because the quality is not as intense as the Premier League. But no offense to Southampton, that side cannot play that way in the Premier League. You have to have better quality players. But part of me also thinks, looking at what's happened under Ivan Juric already, was he really the whole problem? I don't think so. I saw the game on the weekend, and the same sort of softness that was there under Russell is there under Ivan Juric as well.
Our Leeds fan Joe was saying we'd have done a much better job of it than if we'd have won that player final. What sort of shape are you in then in terms of injuries? And I'm guessing Southampton fans, players, and management could care less about this Swansea game, and just want to get knocked out as soon as you possibly can. Do you?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, pretty much. But then we're not exactly given the league a good go either, to be honest. So a bit of a cup run might like rejuvenate the squad, but only real injuries really are Bednarek. And no, Bednarek's back. Bazunu's still out, and I think Jack Stevens is out for a few more weeks. But given his recent antics, I think a few fans might be quite glad to see him out for a bit longer. To be honest with you, other than that,
do you think you'll go for the strong side, Joe?
It'd probably be a mixture of inexperienced, well, like younger players and like players like Lallana, maybe Forney might come in, Brereton Diaz, players like that haven't had really a look in. So relatively strong, but not full strength Premier League.
Hugh, you're not going to get relegated. You're probably not going to go up unless you go on a good run. So you should go for it, shouldn't you? There's no reason to rest any players whatsoever this weekend at St Mary's.
Yeah, I think so. It's a good opportunity to probably get a Premier League scalp, I think, in the FA Cup. It's lost its spice with Martin going, obviously. I think both sides could probably do without what's potentially going to be a bit of a drab game, to be honest. But yeah, I think we've got a chance if we turn up.
James, away games haven't been great for Swansea. What needs to change in this particular away battle?
I'll say that I think that Luke needs to be bold. Maybe bring a few of the youngsters in, because I think there's a few lads in our squad who are very comfortable that they know that their names are going to be on the team sheet week in, week out. Maybe give a few lads like Mark Avea, Carell Wilson, either put them in starting 11, maybe put them on the bench, shake things up a little bit. Effectively, it's a free hit. So maybe you might see the best of some of these lads. They'll want to come in and impress. We've got a very small squad, so it might be a good opportunity to give one or two of the youngsters a run out. And again, that raw talent, some sides, they don't know what to expect from them. So maybe something like that might serve us well on the road.
Mm-hmm. Joe, have you been keeping much interest in the Championship now? You've been in the Premier League. Do you keep an eye on the results?
Yeah. I mean, I keep a closer on it than Southampton was the last few weeks, to be fair. But yeah, I'm really enjoying I'm really enjoying the top four battle, to be honest, in the Championship. I think that's going to be one for the ages. But yeah, it's been a good season.
And stupid question, but can you see yourself getting out of this?
Absolutely not a chance. We could be. I think we could break Derby's record, and we could also be the quickest team to relegated, date wise, from the Premier League as well at one point. So it's looking. It's not looking
all right.
great.
Okay, we'll see you next year then. Back on.
Yeah, can't wait to be back.
Cheers for joining us, Joe. Appreciate your time on here. Enjoy the game this weekend against Swansea. Cheers for that.
All right, thank you.
Thanks so
Cheers.
much. Right, you two. Let's look at Swansea's FA Cup pedigree, shall we, for a second, and just have a reflective moment as to why. In particular, you think Swansea have actually done much better than other teams. I mean, you rarely exit you rarely exit the third round. So you've had some weird ones, but you've actually gone quite far in some recent years. You've your sixth round against City, sixth round against Tottenham. Of course, we know about the final, of course, as well, or the semi-finals you've had. What is it that Swansea do more in terms of FA Cup? Let me start the question again. Why do you think Swansea treat the FA Cup more seriously than other teams do, Hugh?
I'm not sure, really. I mean, I think the way we play, we've always been, the Swansea way. I don't think we've ever been scared of teams. We've always given it a go against the bigger teams in the cup. So I think that's probably part of it. We've got a bit of a kind of underdog attitude, I reckon. We don't fear really in the cups. We've got to go out and give it a bash. And some of those results there, we've got quite far occasions. That Man City one will always haunt me. But I think we've got a good chance on Saturday, and a cup run wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, I think you've got a cracking chance, James, don't you?
Yeah, I think, like I said, it's a free hit for us, really. A chance to test some of the guys perhaps aren't getting as many minutes as they like. A side that's particularly low on confidence that we're going to be going up against as well. That's used to be on the wrong end of results every week. So I don't think that there's a lot for us to be overly worried about. And hopefully, again, a win on the road might sort of shake this sort of flaky record that we've got at the moment as well.
Okay. Next week on the channel, it's back. The derby is back away at Cardiff. How do you think they've done compared to when you last played them? Do you expect this to be a tougher battle than it was previously back in August? Hugh, just as we'll probably preview it next week, but where do you see them at?
Form goes out the window of this game. It's just completely irrelevant. It always has been. We thought we were going to smash them in August, and we should have done, and then we didn't. And then they've been on a horrendous run recently until the last 3 games where they picked up a win away at Watford and then 2 draws. So it's anyone's game. It always is. I'm sure James would agree. It's just whoever turns up on the day. We've got a better record of doing so in this game, but who knows? It's a lottery.
Okay. James, we'll talk about it next week. But have you got your ticket for this one?
No, actually, because the club haven't released the allocations yet. We're nearly a week away, and they still haven't done it at the moment, which is really strange. So I'm not really sure what's going on there at the moment.
Okay. We'll ask you again next week then. Hopefully they've sorted it out. Finally, then, it's a January transfer window. Any names floating around? We talked about possible exits, but what about players coming in? Hugh, have you heard any rumours or any players that you particularly would like to see in a white shirt coming into January?
There's no one really off the top of my head at the moment. I've seen a couple of names floating around. There's a young Asian lad knocking about that we were looking at. And I think a few other clubs are interested who are in European football, so I can't see us getting that one. But also is it Milkstrom, is it, James, the Swedish lad we've been linked with a couple of times as well?
Yeah, Noel Miller-Skog, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. We might see him in a Swan shirt, but yeah, I'd be happy with just a couple of names through the door, to be honest, just to bolster the squad. We need that depth. Our bench is aging and rotting.
Okay. James?
Joe Lowe is the main link that we've had from Wickham. Centre back. We've had a bid rejected, apparently. One I'd really like to see. He's really comfortable on the ball. Scored 4 goals this season. Big lad as well. Something that perhaps we don't have a lot of on our side. We're quite a small side usually. There are 2 others I would like to see. There's no link to them at all, but one is Kwame Poku from Peterborough. I'd absolutely love to have him down here. We're crying out for creativity and a bit of pace. Suits us down to the ground. Probably this one's unrealistic, but I've always admired him as a player. I'd love to see Elias Chair put the white shirt on down here. Absolutely fantastic player. Probably a little bit too out of our price range in terms of wages, I'd imagine, but would be an interesting one. It ticks all the boxes of creativity, and it's something that we really need to look at in January.
Okay, some good shouts there. Let us know in the comments who you would sign. Thank you very much, both of you. Enjoy your game against Southampton. We'll see you next week when we preview the South Wales derby. It's back. Join us for that, won't you? And don't forget, drop us a subscribe if you haven't yet done so already. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good week.